Let's hit some anytime goal scorers as well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Okay, it would help if I added myself to the show, you guys. Good morning, Jo here, SportsGrid. It's time for Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. Now, we have an absolutely a loaded day out there on the ice. Super excited for some of these games. We've got some home dogs that I really do think are worth taking a chance on today. So we're going to jump into each and every one of those. Now, with how many games there are, this is going to be a longer show. So if you just want to come back for the recap, if you don't have time to hang around, make sure you do that. I will bookmark when that recap hits. I'm guessing it's going to be right around that 50-minute mark, unless we talk super fast here for the next, 12 games. We got 12 games? I believe it's 12 games today. Maybe it's 14. Let's jump right into it. It's the Columbus Blue Jackets first, taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Now, Columbus is rolling in here. Not so great out there on the road. But I like what this team does bring to the table. And Columbus is a plus 142 dog here on the road. And the Buffalo Sabres at minus 172. I don't want to lay that kind of juice with the Buffalo Sabres. We know the inconsistencies this team has faced. And this was a team that I was really hoping would step up a little bit more this season, but they just haven't been able to get there. The total sits at 6.5. Now, the juice to the total is on the under 6.5 at minus 138. I could see this being a 4-3 style game. The total to the over 6.5 is coming in at plus 112. Elvis versus Lankinkin is your goaltending matchup. Now, the Columbus Blue Jackets are coming off the loss versus the Dallas Stars. That was a hard game out there on the road for them. They allowed 5 goals and did put up 3 themselves. And we have Buffalo. They've been getting these wins as of late. They've won their last 3, sitting 8th in the Atlantic still. But they were able to beat the Devils on Sunday. That was a game in which they hit Jake Allen really strong. And we'll talk about Jake Allen in a little bit here because Nico Daws did come in for him in the third as he got yanked. And then we saw Nico Daws save all 7 shots that Buffalo put up. But Buffalo still did get that 4-3 win. The Devils tried to push back and just weren't able to get it done. Last game on the road here for the Columbus Blue Jackets. They're home on Thursday versus Utah. Now, when we look at their last 4 games out here on in their last 3 have gone to overtime. The only one that didn't go to overtime was that one versus the Stars. So this is a team that has been playing in really tight games out there on the ice, and we're getting them for plus money. I love the plus money we're getting at the Columbus Blue Jackets at plus 142. It was a little bit less value. We were getting a plus 130 earlier in the day. So people coming in here on Buffalo, I just can't trust it, especially when we look at Columbus versus Buffalo. Columbus versus Buffalo has been strong. They've won 4 of the last 5 matchups in Buffalo. So, and the road team between these two, we haven't seen home ice advantage, you guys. It has been road ice advantage with the road team winning 5 of the last 7. So my money's coming in here on the Columbus Blue Jackets. I think that they bring it today. They won the last 4 first periods in Buffalo as well. If you want to look at that first period, if you're a little bit concerned for the full game, the Buffalo will get back in it. Now, I do think this is a 4-3 style game. Like I told you when we started off, that over 6.5 definitely in play. We've seen strong trends to the over as well in Buffalo with 5 of the last 6 going over that total and 8 of the last 11 going over as well. We have seen 1 push there and 2 under. So I do think we have a higher scoring one. Tim rolling with the Oilers, Dallas Devils, and Toronto today. Yeah, Devils killed me too on Sunday. That was just crazy to see how bad Jake Allen did come out. Good morning to you. So yeah, I could understand why you'd leave Columbus alone for that reason. I think a lot of people thinking so as well. I'm looking for a big day out of Adam Fantilli to really step up in this one and for this team to just be able to hit Lankinkin. Lankinkin, a goaltender that I expected to play stronger than we've actually seen out of him. Next, the Ottawa Senators take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. And yes, I stepped in front of the Ottawa Senators last night. because I really did believe Allmark was going to be our goaltender in net for them. Now we're still seeing expected here for Allmark to make his return. He's now missed 19 games for the Ottawa Senators. And I did think last night versus the Preds with Allmark in net, we would have seen those goals come in and the Preds could have got the win. Without him, with Forsberg coming in, we know how that story went. The Ottawa Senators were able to get the win. The Predators opened up that scoring, but that was basically done. As soon as they opened it up, Ottawa returned with 2 goals. So it was a really strong, dominant win by the Ottawa Senators. This team has been rolling so incredible. But now, will we get Allmark tonight? And will Allmark allow those goals to the Tampa Bay Lightning? I really think they made a mistake not starting him last night. I would have liked to see his feet get wet because they will face the Tampa Bay Lightning again on Thursday. So I would have put him in last night, allowed him to shake off that rust, and then played Forsberg today, and then played Allmark again in that next one. Now, this is going to be a hard one because, yes, Forsberg was able to record the win, but now Allmark tonight, I think, will have that misstep, and then we will see Forsberg come back in for that next game and struggle versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I think they risk the fact that they could lose both of these games, where last night I think the Predators would have been a better game for him to build that confidence, because while I do think the Predators still would have won, I think he would have really had still a stronger performance, but allowed a couple goals and allowed the Preds to win. So interesting to see what they did out there. But again, the Tampa Bay Lightning are a minus 176 favorite here. The Ottawa Senators at plus 146, and that total sitting at 5.5. Because I think Tampa will hit Allmark, because I'm expecting Allmark, so wait for goaltending confirmation. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Lightning in the first period on the puck line. This has been a bet that has been working for us with the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've come out so strong in some of these first periods. It's coming in at plus 142. So I love the plus money. I love the fact that we should see Allmark. I think that he does allow a goal quick in this one. You got to think of that rest coming back from a back injury. When we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, they have the fifth best power play in the whole league, 10th best kill. So that power play converting 26.4% of the time, and the kill at 81.7. Now, Andre Vasilevsky expected here for them. They are off that loss versus the Isles in OT. So this team is going to be hungry to get back on track. Now, we know the Ottawa Senators really trend to that under this season, the best team to bet those unders with. But the Tampa Bay Lightning have been trying to return to that defensive form. We saw that in that game versus the Isles, that 3-2 loss. So I do think this one is a lower scoring game, as long as Allmark doesn't completely come out totally flat. We got a team total of the Tampa Bay Lightning here at 3.5. Now, could we see Tampa get 4 goals and 1 out of the Senators? We could. I'm a little cautious with that total of 3.5, because I do think this could be a 3-2 style win here for the Tampa Bay Lightning and in overtime. The last time these teams matched up, though, you guys, it flew over that total back in October. We saw that 5-4 win for the Ottawa Senators. Now, there's great playmakers on both sides. There's no denying it. Tim Struzel's got 17 goals and 36 assists for the Sens. We got Braden Point, but someone we don't talk about much is Brandon Hagel. Brandon Hagel's 22 goals and 32 assists for the Tampa Bay Lightning. So lots of playmakers out there. I just do think with how these teams have been playing, you've got to look at a lower scoring one. Now, the Ottawa Senators do roll in, winning their last 5. This team is so hot, but it is the second night of a back-to-back. And those question marks around Allmark is where I just can't not look for Tampa to at least come out first in this one. Chip, I'm sorry you're burnt out of betting. It is a daily grind, that is for sure. Dallas and Montreal for you. Okay, the boss real Sam V. Okay, Dallas and Montreal. I can get behind that. The Montreal Canadiens need to get back in the winning column. No Tage Thompson on the ice this morning. Looks like he's out. Yeah, Tage not in the lineup is going to be a blow for them. Good morning, everyone. Let's make some frickin' money. You are right. It is a beautiful Tuesday to make that money out there. So we've talked the first 2 games, you guys. If you've missed anything between Columbus and Buffalo and Ottawa and Tampa, we will do the recap at the end. But we're on to the New Jersey Devils. The New Jersey Devils, like I said, Nico Dawes will be in net tonight. Now, he started the season with them on that. They went over to Europe. He started over there, third string goaltender, was sent back down to the AHL. He played the third period on Sunday versus Buffalo. He did stop all 7 shots on his net after Jake Allen was pulled, and now he's being confirmed tonight instead of going back to Jake Allen, which is an interesting one here because Jake Allen only played those 2 periods. They could have put him in, but Jake Allen's kind of rattled right now. Now, they lost that one 4-3. They tried to make that comeback, and they just didn't have it in them. Nedeljkovic expected in goal here for the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. Now, the Penguins have won their last 2. They're coming off that game versus the Predators. They were actually able to get a shutout 3-0 at home, and that was on Saturday. And the Devils, they have Vegas on deck at home on Thursday, at Montreal on Saturday. So the Rangers on deck here for the Penguins on Friday, and then at the Flyers. So 2 games on the road. So we are coming against the break for 4 nations, you guys. 7th in the Metro here for the Penguins and 3rd in the Metro for the New Jersey Devils. The Devils need to get things going back in the right direction. I know it's only just off 1 loss, but the inconsistencies that we've seen, I do think they can take it out here on the Pittsburgh Penguins. But can the Penguins score on Nico Dawes? I do think they will put up a couple goals as well. You look at Sidney Crosby, 57 points in 54 games. I'm looking for this one to go over the total. The total sitting in this one at, actually, let me read you all the odds. So the Devils are minus 140 favorite, plus 116 here for the Pittsburgh Penguins, total 6.5. Juice to the under at minus 130, plus 106 to the over. I'm buying into an over in this one. Give me Sid to at least record 2 points in this one. I think he's able to get a goal and an assist. The Pittsburgh Penguins offense really needs to pick up. They cannot go into their next game versus the Rangers without getting a couple goals here, especially on a goaltender that has spent most of the season in the AHL. So look for them to be able to score on him, a goal and an assist out of Sid. So give me him for the 2+ points. But on the other side, the Devils could easily score 4 goals themselves on Nedeljkovic, or even 5. You guys, this Devils team is loaded with playmakers up and down. They have a team total of 3.5, and I do think plus money to the over 3.5, as long as the Penguins put their share of the Devils in this one, especially with how they lost that last one. Look for them to come out and look to dominate offensively. So I do think the Devils team total over 3.5 is a play. You're getting that at plus 112. They've won the last 5 meetings in Pittsburgh. They haven't covered the puck line in their last 11 games on the road, though. So this is a concern for this team. They're playing in really tight matchups, and they've also dominated versus the Penguins, winning 7 of the last 8 meetings. So look for a big performance. Jack Hughes has 61 points in 54 games. Jasper Bratt, 59 points in 54 games. Dougie Hamilton, 35 points in the 54 games. And Luke Hughes, 21 points. He's played 45 games. So playmakers up and down the board, and 3 of the last 4 matchups between these two have been that higher scoring game. So I do think this is a good one. Yeah, the dogs are definitely barking today. I'm loving road dogs, home dogs. Let's make some freaking money. That is for sure. Kraken in regulation for Joe. Let's go, Joe. Good luck with your Kraken tonight. Montreal Sharks overtime. Yeah, I think that is a good one to look at overtime, as both of those teams are desperate to come out and get those wins. Let's move on to the Florida Panthers. They're taking on the Washington Capitals. Now, you can go one way or another with this game. I really do think this is going to come down to, for myself, I think this is playoff style hockey. Neither of these teams wants to get into pond hockey between each other. But you could very easily see it going that way, right? Like if one team comes out, gets a little bit of puck luck, the other team answers back. We're going to have that back and forth pond hockey style game. I'm just not buying into it. I love this one to be a lower scoring one. Under the 5.5 is minus 104. With the Washington Capitals at home here at minus 102, it's not a pick 'em. It's minus 118 here for the Florida Panthers. How are the Caps not getting more respect here is a big question mark for me. So first bet, Capitals at home on the money line. This team has lost their last 2. Saturday overtime loss to the Jets 5-4. They gave it one heck of a shot in that game, but they are 7-2-1 in their last 10 games. We're seeing Florida rolling in here. Yes, they've won their last 3, 7-3 in their last 10. They are off that win versus the Isles, who were on a hot streak, getting that win on Sunday at 6-3. But I look at these two teams and I'm expecting absolute playoff style hockey. We've got the Capitals at home getting last change. My money will go there on them. I think this is an overtime game for sure. And I think this is a lower scoring one. Now, because I think it's an overtime game, I get kind of nervous that we will be in a 2-2 situation. And then someone will get that third, and then we'll see the total go over because we will end up getting tied up 3-3 and going to OT. I'm going to look at the first period. I have the most faith in the first period being that low scoring, defensive playoff style hockey that I'm expecting out of these two teams. So no goal in the first 10 minutes, coming in at plus 108. And the first period under 1.5 goals at minus 116. My favorite bets of these games. And then the Washington Capitals. I don't think they're getting enough respect here at minus 102. Now, we love talking about Ovechkin and what he's been able to do on the ice. Bobrovsky expected in net here for the Florida Panthers. Now, with Bobrovsky in net, he's allowed Ovi to score on his net 16 times in their careers together. So I'm going to take a chance on Ovi, watching some of the goals he scored on Bobrovsky. They've been absolutely brilliant, just so high danger out there. And Bobrovsky, while he's outstanding, Ovi can hit him, and he can hit him hard in some of these games. So we're looking at Ovi. He's got 877 goals so far in his career, 24 goals this season, 14 assists, and he scored in the last 2 games. Look for Ovi to continue to roll hot in this one. Now, the last time these teams matched up, the Capitals did win back in November, 4-1. Could it be that style of game? I hope so. I really do think this Capitals team is so strong, and I'm excited to see them sitting first in the Metro here, 16-4-5 at home. No slouches here with the Florida Panthers, though, first in the Atlantic, and that's what I mean, you guys. For me, this has to be playoff style hockey. This can't be a high scoring affair like even we saw with the Jets and the Capitals in that game, 5-4 overtime. I just don't see it going that way. But that first period is where I really want to lock down. Seeing your comments on Sam Reinhart for the point. Yeah, point in the last 3 games, 5 points in the last 3 games. That is a great thing to note there. Sam Reinhart, definitely a playmaker. Sam Reinhart, we know last year on that power play, absolutely leading the whole league out there, was fantastic. And then you're rolling Blake with Matt Boldy of the Minnesota Wild, anytime goal, and Jasper Bratt of the New Jersey Devils, 2+ points for you. So nice way to go. You love CPAs. Okay. Let's move into the next game here. The Minnesota Wild taking on the Boston Bruins. This is going to be an interesting one here. We know Ryan Hartman. I knew there was a heart in there, you guys. It just drew a blank for a second. Ryan Hartman suspended for 10 games for his hit on Tim Struzel. If you didn't see it, it was absolutely brutal in fast play. It doesn't look as bad, but when you slowed it down, it was absolutely dirty. Him taking his elbow and driving Tim Struzel's face into the ice off a face-off. He didn't even try to go for the puck. He just went for Tim Struzel's head. So nasty out there. So we are seeing Ryan Hartman out for a 10-game suspension. We know Kaprizov is out of the lineup as well for the Minnesota Wild. So for the Wild to win this, we're really going to need to see Matt Boldy step up, and Matt Boldy step up really strong. But also Marc-Andre Fleury is confirmed in goal, and we've seen such success out of Marc-Andre Fleury this season. We know it's his last season out there, and I want nothing more than to see Marc-Andre Fleury get every single win he can. And now they're taking on the Boston Bruins. The Minnesota Wild are a plus 115 road dog, and I do think if Marc-Andre Fleury stands on his head, especially with Boston off that big win versus the Ottawa Senators, it was versus the Ottawa Senators, right? They're coming off that huge win. No, it was versus the New York Rangers. That's right, because JT Miller in that start got 2 goals, opened it up, and then Pasternak was able to come back, put in that hat trick in that game. So Boston coming off a big 6-3 win versus the Rangers. And then we have the Minnesota Wild off that loss to the Senators, in which they lost that. They got shut out 6-3. I believe 3 goals were scored on that 5-minute major that Ryan Hartman did take. Now, Marc-Andre Fleury, 31 games versus the Boston Bruins. He's gone 14-10 with a 2.52 goals against average and a 918 save percentage. So I do think Marc-Andre Fleury, 11-5-1 this season, 2.60 goals against average and 908 save percentage, can steal them this game here in Boston. I just don't have that faith in Swayman in net. Boston's power play has been ineffective all season. So give me the Minnesota Wild with the plus money. I think they can get it done off of that loss. They won the last matchup back in December. It was 3-2 win. But again, Matt Boldy has to be the driving force of this team. So if you want to just look at Matt Boldy for his points today, I definitely could see them coming in. Now, it's the first night of a back-to-back here for the Boston Bruins. They're coming off the win versus the Rangers, and they'll go back to face the Rangers tomorrow. So in the Garden. So they've got a big matchup versus them. And then they're home versus Vegas on Saturday. So a couple hard games here. They have won their last 7 games as a home favorite, in which they're in that position right now, but I just can't take them. I love the plus money on the Wild. Yeah, the Wild rolling in with such an amazing road record. Should send Boldy to Calgary. He's useless. Calgary doesn't need any useless players. Don't send him to Calgary. Matt Boldy has been their shining light as of late. The Vegas Golden Knights, you guys are hilarious. The Vegas Golden Knights next are in action versus the Isles. I was really shocked when I saw this. The Vegas Golden Knights rolling with this losing streak, a minus 142 favorite versus an Islanders team that has, like, they were rolling so hot before they took that loss. They've won, 7 of their last 10 games. They're plus 118 here at home. Total 5.5. The 5.5 is juiced to the over at minus 122, plus 100 to the under. And I'll never forget when they met in Vegas. The outcome was the exact opposite of what I thought. When they met in Vegas, it was Adin Hill versus Sorokin, like expected here. And I expected one of those goaltenders to get the shutout win, and it was Adin Hill, not Sorokin. But the reverse happened. Sorokin rolled into Vegas, and the Isles got a 4-0 win. He recorded the shutout, and now Sorokin has been playing so hot. Adin Hill and Vegas are looking for a little bit of revenge in this one. But this team has lost their last 3, and they're 2-5-3 in their last 10 games. They lost on Sunday to the Rangers. That was a 4-2 loss. I can't trust them here, and I'm definitely not laying juice with this team. We know Jack Eichel still has been able to light the lamp. So if you want to look at Jack Eichel or Mark Stone, I would prefer Jack Eichel. The Isles off the loss to the Panthers after winning 7-6-7 before that. That was a loss to the Panthers 6-3. It was a big loss there. So, but 7-3, like I said, in their last 10. This is a first game home off a 3-game road trip, which is normally a fade spot for me, but this team needs every single win that they can get sitting 5th in the Metro. Give me a shot here on the Islanders. I love the plus money. Now the Islanders are coming in at plus 118. We're starting to lose value as the day goes on, you guys. They were a plus 126 underdog when we started this show 26 minutes ago. So plus 118. I still think it's worth it hitting on the Isles. Now, if the Isles win, I do think this has to stay under the total of 5.5. That's coming in at plus 100 to the under 5.5. So if you don't want to step in front of Vegas because Vegas has lost their last 3, you're looking for Vegas to get back on track. I still do feel that either team that wins this will go to that under. Now, overtime, I do think is in play in this game as well. But I think it's, a 1-1 game going to OT. I think we see that lockdown on both sides on the defensive side of things. Vegas has been struggling to put those goals on the board, and we know the Isles love that defensive style of hockey. So look for a lower scoring one in this one, you guys. The next game on the board, the Edmonton Oilers taking on the St. Louis Blues. Current odds on this one. Now the puck drops at 8:10 Eastern. We do have Edmonton a minus 188 favorite here. Interesting, right? The St. Louis Blues plus 155 at home. That's so much value on the St. Louis Blues. I love this team. I love the gritty style of hockey they play. Total of 6.5, minus 132 to the under and plus 108 to the over. Skinner versus Binghamton is your goaltending matchup. Now, Edmonton's lost their last 2. Saturday lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs at home 4-3. As a Calgary fan, it was so beautiful to see that happen. And then the St. Louis Blues, they're off the win on the road versus Utah in a low-scoring 2-1 win. I do think this game screams under. So that total sitting at 6.5 at minus 132 to the under. I know you got to lay the juice there. I think it goes under this, but I also think this can be an alt number under 5.5. You're going to get great plus money on the under 5.5. I think this is a 3-2 style win for the St. Louis Blues in OT. I really do think they can pull it off. So looking at the overtime bets coming in at plus 330 between these two, and the Blues at home at plus 155. I'm I'm in. The home teams won the last 3 between these two teams. So we have seen home ice advantage. The last game did go to Edmonton, 4-2 win back in December. I think the Blues answer back in this series and have every ability to do so. So give me the Blues at home plus money and the overtime at plus 330. The Carolina Hurricanes versus the Winnipeg Jets. This is going to be a great game. Now, Carolina is dealing with illnesses, and there is question marks around several of their key players, and they're coming in at a minus 142 favorite. I can't get there. I just don't understand this line. The Winnipeg Jets have been rolling so hot. They're plus 118 here at home on the money line. Sign me up. Now, total of 5.5, minus 120 to the over and minus 102 to the under. I'm going to do nothing with this total. I would expect Winnipeg to win this 3-1 style game. Connor Hellebuck, and that 3-1 because we see an empty netter, because it's basically a 2-1 game in that third period. And then we see Kochekov pulled out of net for Carolina. But I think we have that strong defensive game. We have the Carolina Hurricanes off a loss to the LA Kings on Saturday, 4-2 at home. So inconsistencies out there. We know the trade and Rantanen added to this lineup. I have a lot of faith in Carolina, but I do think with the illnesses, I think you look at them once they come out of the break from the Four Nations. Connor Hellebuck has been hot. The Winnipeg Jets have been hot. They won their last 6. Big win over the Capitals in their last game, 5-4 win in OT. Home off 3 road games, normally a fade, but I can't fade this team right now. They have the Isles on deck on Friday before the break and sitting first in the Central. So it's the Winnipeg Jets or nothing for me in this game. I think they can get it done. Okay. Toronto, the Maple Leafs coming off that win versus Edmonton will take on my Calgary Flames. Now, Calgary took the loss to the Red Wings, then went out. Second night back-to-back, got the win over Seattle. Now back home to take on the Leafs. This total sitting at 5.5 plus 100 to the under. It's the under all day for me. We have Dustin Wolf expected here and Joseph Wall for the Leafs and Wolf for the Calgary Flames. Now, the Calgary Flames are a plus 128 home dog in this one, and they need every single home win they can get. It's minus 154 here for the Leafs. Now, I don't want to jump on a side. I do think Kadri at home for Calgary is a very solid way to go. We know he's able to get those goals on the board. He did score in that game versus the Red Wings, the only goal scored for Calgary. And then Austin Matthews has been playing hot here for Toronto, 7 goals and 3 assists in his past 10. But to me, this is an under game. I like the under in the first period even more than the full game, the under 1.5 in the full game. And then we take overtime and an empty netter out of this game in case we're sitting in that situation where the empty netter or overtime pushes us to that over. So first period under 1.5 is where I will go in this matchup. And I'm not going to touch a side. I love Calgary at home with what they're doing. They're sitting 4th in the Pacific, you guys. They are right in the mix right now for Western Conference wildcard spot. 16-8-3 at home. They know they need this win. And then second in the Atlantic here for the Leafs. 12-8-2 on the road this season. They're at the Kraken on Thursday and at Vancouver on Saturday. Big win over. It's really hard for teams to win the double-double as well. Something to note when they play the 2 Alberta teams, they normally take a win versus one and a loss versus the other. That didn't happen with the Red Wings rolling in. They got the win over Edmonton, then they got the win over Calgary. So could the Leafs do it as well? They could, but odds are kind of against them here. The Philadelphia Flyers taking on the Utah Hockey Club is our next game out there. Now, the good thing for both of these teams is someone's losing streak has to come to an end. They can't finish this one in a tie, right? The Flyers at plus 114 here on the money line on the road. The plus money is attractive, but I'm just not buying into it. This team has been shut out in their last 3 games. 0 goals in 3 games is absolutely atrocious. The Utah Hockey Club's a minus 137 favorite at home. Again, this team on a losing streak, I don't want to lay that kind of juice. We got a total of 5.5. The total is actually juiced to the over at minus 118 and minus 104 to the under. I can't take this one under the total because I do think we could see with both of these teams desperate this one going over, but I just don't want to bet the total over either. I looked at a couple ways to try to bet this. I do think Utah can get the win. Again, I don't love the juice. I think they can go over their team total 2.5 goals. This team has been putting up some goals. They've been playing strong defensively, and I think they should be able to limit the Flyers. So I don't want to take the full game over either in case the Flyers come out completely flat. Again, like I said, being shut out in their last three, it's not pretty. They're going to be hungry, though. But what I'm going to look at here is just give me Utah in the first period on the puck line. It's risky, you guys, looking at Utah here first period. But if the Flyers come out just as flat as they have in the last two, and we see Utah go up first in this one, that puck line laying a half a goals at plus 170. So I won't be surprised if Utah puts up 4 goals. We see 2 out of the Flyers and we go over the total of 5.5. But just trying to find money. This is a gross game, not my favorite game to bet out there. So it's kind of a long shot, kind of just like some coffee money here on that puck line for the Utah Hockey Club. Puck line laying a half a goal at plus 170. Again, not my favorite. Okay, the Detroit Red Wings is our next game up. Utah in regulation. It's going to be a shootout. Okay, you're looking for those goals to come. Yeah, and I could see those goals coming, right? The Flyers need to get back on track. Okay, you're going to fade the Leafs, Calgary to get the win. I really want to see Calgary get the win now. When I'm in the building, don't bet Calgary. Every game I've gone to, 3 games this season, they've taken the loss. I went to the last one with my mom versus the Red Wings. They lost. I went to the Boston game, and I went to one other this season. I can't remember who it was. I know it wasn't the Stars. I went to the Stars game last season, but you look at me in the building, Calgary loses. My mom by herself with her fiance, they always get the win. She will be in the building on Thursday. Not sure if it's him or not. She's taking my aunt on Thursday, so they'll play the Avs. So I do think Calgary can get the win tonight, though. It's going to be interesting to see. Let's talk about those Detroit Red Wings because they have been playing incredible hockey. They've won their last 6. They've got the overtime win versus Vancouver on Sunday, 3-2. They were so smothering over Calgary, and they did the same thing to Vancouver. Cam Talbot will be in goal tonight, and in that game versus Vancouver, it was Alex Leon, and I thought maybe Alex Leon would allow Vancouver to score a little bit more, but not the case. So looking here at Cam Talbot, I love what he's doing this season. 2.79 goals against average and a 909 save percentage, going 15, 10, and 2. Detroit has allowed in their last 5 games, you guys, are you ready for this? An average of 1.4 goals per game. 1.4. Now they're facing the Seattle Kraken that have had those struggles. And Joe, I know you're listening, and I apologize. Your Seattle Kraken, Jared McCann can be a playmaker, but how this defense has played. Seattle's only hope of winning this one is limiting the offense completely here of the Detroit Red Wings and this to be a lower scoring game. I do think if this is a 2-1 game, Seattle could get the win. So I think no matter what happens, the Seattle Kraken's team total under 2.5 at plus 128, I found the best value in. Detroit is rolling in as the dog. This is the last game out there on the road. They played absolutely hard physical games as well. They're minus 105 on the money line. We're starting to lose value. If you did like Detroit, they were plus 110 earlier in the day. The Kraken at minus 114. 5.5 your total at minus 106. I do like this to the under. We are seeing Detroit. They won back in the middle of January. It was 6-2 high scoring game. I can't see it being that high scoring game. Again, 2-1 style game here. Joey Decord needs to come out nice and strong in this matchup. Seattle off the loss to the Calgary Flames 3-2. I very muchly think this could be 2-1, 3-2 game. If Detroit wins 3-2, if the Kraken win 2-1. So I'm going to take the Kraken's team total under 2.5 in this one. These teams have trended to the over, 5 of the last 7 going over, but I'm not buying into it with what this defense has done for the Detroit Red Wings as of late. They're being so hot. This is the last game on the road of 4. They're versus the Lightning at home on Saturday, so pretty big matchup before the break for them. Wings puck line. Yeah, and could the Wings win 3-1? They absolutely could. Timothy going with the Leafs. Okay. The next game, Colorado. Colorado taking on Vancouver, you guys. Colorado rolling in a minus 152 favorite, and I do think they rightly should be the bigger favorite in this one. The Vancouver Canucks have been inconsistent at home, and I can't trust Demko in goal when we start breaking out Demko's numbers. It's just not pretty, you guys. He's got a save percentage below 900, goals against average of over 3. And now they're taking on the Colorado Avalanche, which I know Rantanen now out of this lineup, but you do have Martinez coming from the Carolina Hurricanes, and I do think he's a huge step up. But you look at the playmakers that are still with Colorado, that were with Colorado, and Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar, those are your top playmakers for this team. And I think they're going to be able to get the best of the Vancouver Canucks. Now, Vancouver, I do think, is going to start turning things around with JT Miller out of this lineup. We know he was a huge issue for them out there. So looking at this total of 5.5, it is interesting to see that it is a pick 'em on either side, a -110 on either side of the 5.5, because I look for Colorado to be able to put up some goals in this one. Demko, like I said, 873 save percentage. He's gone 4-6-3 this season after returning from that injury with a 3.26 goals against average. Mackenzie Blackwood has been kind of shaky as of late, but overall really solid numbers, a 917 save percentage. They've won their last two. They were able to get that lockdown win at home versus the Flyers on Sunday. Yeah, on Sunday, it was a 2-0 win. They shut out the Flyers, but this Flyers team hasn't been having success offensively. Vancouver has lost their last two. Sunday, they lost to the Red Wings. That was an overtime loss, 3-2. First game of a road trip here for Colorado, 5 total, 3 before the break. So 5 total road games, 3 before the break. So they'll face Calgary Thursday and Edmonton on Friday. So they've got some hard games here, but I do think the scoring will come tonight. I love the Avs team total over 3.5. We're getting great plus money. I don't think this is a 3-2 style game. I think this is a 4-3, 4-2 style game, with Colorado being the one who scores the majority of the goals on Demko. So give me the Avs team total over 3.5. That's coming in at plus 130. We have seen the trend go over in Vancouver, going 6-2-2 in the last 10 to that over. Nathan MacKinnon leads this team with 80 points, you guys, like I said. And then you've got Cale Makar coming in here. He's on the top defensive line on that top power play, 58 points on the season. His last meeting versus Vancouver, he was able to record that assist and 4 shots on goal. Now, versus Vancouver in 10 career games, he's had 3 goals and 12 assists for 15 points. Look for Cale Makar for the point tonight. I'd look for the power play point. I do think it will be in play, especially if we're not seeing Quinn Hughes out there on the ice, which he's questionable for the Vancouver Canucks tonight. Quinn Hughes has been so strong for this team, but I don't think he'll be on the ice. He missed that game versus the Red Wings as well. So look for a strong night out of Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar tonight, and the Avs to go over 3.5 goals. Okay, you're rolling in with the Wild, the Caps, the Columbus Blue Jackets, the Jets, the Stars, the Avs on is your 7-game parlay. I love it. Way to go with that one. I wish you all the best in that parlay. Make sure you try to find a way to bet them separately outside of it, because it always feels like it's one leg that does its dirty in those parlays. Next, 10:30 Eastern, the puck will drop in Anaheim. The Dallas Stars taking on the Anaheim Ducks. Now, Jake Ottinger expected here for the Dallas Stars, and John Gibson expected for the Anaheim Ducks. Now, we've seen the Dallas Stars be able to score 4 or more goals in 6 of their last 10 games. This offense has been clicking. They've won the last 5. They got the win versus the Columbus Blue Jackets, 5-3. On a Sunday, and the Anaheim Ducks off the win versus Montreal 3-2 at home on Sunday. But this is an offense that I really don't have a lot of faith in. Troy Terry did miss that last game versus Montreal, and I'm not sure if he's going to be back in the lineup today or not. But I think with or without him, we're going to see the Dallas Stars be able to score on John Gibson out here. John Gibson doesn't instill a lot of faith for me out there on the ice. The Ducks have the Kings on deck on Saturday, and this is the first game of a 6-game road trip here for the Dallas Stars. They'll be at the Kings on Friday, at the Sharks on Saturday before the break. So 3 here before the break, and then 3 after the break. This team's sitting second in the Central. This is such a deeper team than the Anaheim Ducks, and I do see these teams trend to that under. What I'll do here is I just want to look at the Ducks team total to the under 2.5. I do think they struggle to score on Jake Ottinger in this one, and Dallas continues to roll. Now, if you want to look at Dallas on the puck line, let me give you current odds on this before I forget. I can find it here. The Dallas Stars, and see, that's the problem. Puck line laying 1.5 at plus 106. Not enough value for me. It is plus 1.5 for the Ducks. I don't love that either. I do think The Ducks team total, and I'm going to be honest, and I always tell you if I haven't put something in, I haven't put this in. So the Ducks team total under 2.5, it's too juiced, you guys, at -146. I do think they absolutely struggle to score in this one. Can the Dallas Stars get over 3.5 goals, 4 goals out of the Stars? Yeah, they can. So -112 here for the Stars over 3.5. Could they win this 3-0 in a shutout win and just lock down on defense? They could. So again, not my favorite game here. Maybe let's do this. Let's look at first period Dallas Stars on the puck line to roll hot and score on John Gibson, because that's my lack of faith is in John Gibson out here on the ice. So if you look at the total in the first period over 1.5 goals, it's -116. I can see this one getting off to that fast start. Dallas scoring both of those goals, though, is my opinion. So if we look at the first period money line, of course, we can't do that. Let me find the puck line as we talk here. First period puck line for the Dallas Stars, laying a half goal at +130. In, out of this game. Don't have to worry about the rest of it. First game on the road with the Kings on deck on Friday. The Ducks have the Kings on deck on Saturday. So the Kings will be in that back-to-back when they face the Ducks. That could be a good look for the Ducks in that back-to-back, or they won't be in the back-to-back and the Kings on the back-to-back. But in this game, I think the Stars come out and really put the screws down on them, especially if no Troy Terry. So Dallas, first period puck line. The Montreal Canadiens and the San Jose Sharks, two more teams that absolutely could break their losing streak today. Someone has to, right? The Montreal Canadiens losing their last 5. They lost that last game, like we're talking, with the Ducks, 3-2 after leading 2-0 in that first period. They got up fast, and then we saw the Ducks come back. So if you were watching in game live with myself, Scott, and Scott Wetzel, it was +650 on the Ducks to make that comeback win. So hopefully some of you did watch that with me and jump on that bet. Live betting in hockey, I tell you guys, is absolutely exhilarating because anything can happen out there on the ice. And if you know the team that you had a little bit of faith in, or if the books overvalue one team, coming back in can be so profitable. So make sure you always join me in-game live on the weekends, 4-hour slate, 4 to 8 p.m. with Scott Wetzel, live betting all of the action happening, not just only in hockey, but in basketball, of course, during the football season as well. Crazy to think we are wrapping up here right away with Super Bowl this weekend. But the Montreal Canadiens versus San Jose Sharks. Let's get back to hockey. I do think both teams can score in the first period. Your goaltending matchup is Sam Montague versus Vanacek. First period over 1.5 goals and both teams to score is where I'm going to go with this one. Cole Caulfield has just 1 goal in the last 5 games. Look for Montreal to look to get back on track. Patrick Laine started off so hot when he got out there on the ice. He's cooled off. Nick Suzuki has still been strong. Cole Caulfield has been so quiet. But we have the rookies versus each other, and I love this storyline. Celebrini here for the Sharks and Lane Hudson here for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, Lane Hudson actually is leading in points this season, which not a lot of people are talking about because he is a defenseman. He's been able to get those assists. So he's second to win the Calder at, I believe, +160, where Celebrini's -160. Those were the odds a couple days ago. So Lane Hudson, 39 points, Celebrini, 37. Look for both of these guys to be able to come out nice and strong in this game. And I think they both get on the board tonight point-wise. So I would look at that. Celebrini for the goal. Lane Hudson, could he get the goal? He absolutely could. It's going to be really interesting to see here. But I think this is a higher scoring one. Higher scoring, like 4-3 Montreal win here, or 5-2 Montreal win. I think we're going to see the goal. So give me the over in this one and give me those players. But let's get into the recap. You guys had all the games. I'm just looking at your comments quickly here. My daughter's called me like 10 times from San Francisco. So hopefully it's not life or death situations. She's probably debating if she's buying something in black or in white. That's probably all it's coming down to. So let's get on with this recap. Huge opportunity for San Jose to beat Montreal again, overtime play. Yeah, I could see this being a really tight game. I think both of these offenses can put up the goals. You guys know I love what the San Jose Sharks do bring to the table, but the Montreal Canadiens as well. So overtime is definitely a good look. Be nice to have a looking glass. Yeah. Who doesn't want a looking glass? What would you ask, right? If you could only ask one question into that looking glass for tonight's slate, which question would you ask, right? I don't know. I guess the biggest dog. to make the most profit, right? Which dog can pull off the alt puck line tonight in these matchups? And then if they say no one, then you're SOL, right? Like, so you gotta be careful with what question you ask into that looking glass tonight. Let's do the recap. We're at the 44-minute mark here, you guys. The Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Buffalo Sabres. I think Columbus has every opportunity rolling into Buffalo and getting the win. I'll take the Columbus Blue Jackets straight up on the money line. I do think this is a higher scoring game here. 4-3 style that has the opportunity of going to overtime. So the over 6.5 will be in play as well. The Ottawa Senators versus the Tampa Bay Lightning. I want to get in with Tampa in the first period. I'm expecting Ullmark to be out there on the ice and for Tampa to hit him nice and hard and fast. Now, Ottawa is a team it's hard to step in front of. That first period puck line laying a half a goal at plus 142. The New Jersey Devils versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Nico Daws coming out here for the Devils. And because Nico Daws is coming out, he spent most of his time in the AHL. I expect a couple goals here, at least out of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm going to take this one to the over, but I think you're best off isolating the Devils team total to hit Nedeljkovic hard in this one. They've got a team total of 3.5. We're getting that at plus 112 to the over. Jack Hughes, Jasper Bratt, Dougie Hamilton, and Luke Hughes are your playmakers. The over 6.5 coming in at plus 106. Strong trends to that over. The Florida Panthers versus the Washington Capitals. I think this is the exact opposite in this game. No goal in the first 10 minutes coming in at plus 108. The under 1.5 in the first period at plus 116. And then give me the Capitals on the money line to pull off the win here. Ovechkin for the anytime goal. He's got 16 career goals versus Bobrovsky. Look for number 17 tonight. He is rolling hot. Goals in his last two. 24 goals on the season, 14 assists. We know he's chasing records. Let's go, Ovi. The Minnesota Wild taking on the Boston Bruins. The Wild, I think, have the opportunity to pull off the win because of Marc-Andre Fleury in net tonight. I don't trust Swayman, so give me the Wild with that plus money. Matt Boldy will need to come to play. Give me Matt Boldy for his points. Remember, no Ryan Hartman and no Kaprizov in the lineup for the Wild. The Vegas Golden Knights versus the New York Islanders. I got to take a shot on this Isles team at home. I don't trust Vegas right now. Vegas 2-5-3 in their last 10 games, just not looking right. I'll be betting on Vegas after the break, not before it. Sorokin was able to get the shutout last time they played in Vegas. So Sorokin versus Aiden Hill is your goaltending matchup. Should be a lower scoring battle between those two teams. The Edmonton Oilers versus the St. Louis Blues. Again, I think this one stays under the total of 5.5. But I think with the opportunity of going to overtime, I want to stay off the total. I'm going to take the overtime at plus 330 and then the Blues at home at plus 155 on the money line. Home ice has been a huge advantage between these two teams in their last three meetings. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Winnipeg Jets. Give me the Jets plus money on the Jets here at home versus Carolina. Illness is hitting Carolina right now. Again, I don't want to touch a team that's dealing with illnesses against a red-hot Winnipeg Jets team that's won their last 6. Give me the Jets first in the Central here at plus money at home. The Toronto Maple Leafs and the Calgary Flames. We got Wall versus Wolf. I do think this one stays under the total. Looking for a lower scoring battle here. Nazem Kadri, though, has been strong for Calgary. He was able to score in the last game at home versus the Red Wings. And then we look here at Toronto. It's got to be Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews has been hot. I do like this under 5.5, but I want to take overtime and an empty netter situation out of this game. So give me the first period under 1.5 between these two teams. The Philadelphia Flyers and the Utah Hockey Club. You guys, this is a gross game, especially to try to find value. I'm not betting on a team in Philadelphia that hasn't scored a single goal in their last 3, completely shut out in those 3 games. But I also don't want to lay the juice with Utah in this one. I do think this one has the opportunity to be a higher scoring game as both of these teams desperate to get the wins. Utah has lost their last 5. The Flyers, their last 3. Give me the first period puck line here for the Utah Hockey Club for coffee money at plus 170, laying the half a goal. That's all I want to bet is coffee money on this one. The Detroit Red Wings versus the Seattle Kraken. I think no matter win or lose, the Seattle Kraken stay under 2.5 goals. The under 2.5 goals for the Seattle Kraken. The defense is playing so lights out here for Detroit is coming in at plus 128. Now, Colorado, the Avs versus the Vancouver Canucks. The Avs team total over 3.5 at plus 130. I think they come out and get a big win. I don't trust Demko in goal. Demko doesn't have solid numbers. I know Vancouver won the last meeting, but look for the Avs to really come to play. Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon is who I really want to circle in this matchup. And then question mark still around Quinn Hughes if he's going to be on the ice for Vancouver because he missed the last game versus the Red Wings. The Dallas Stars versus the Anaheim Ducks. Give me the Ducks team total under 2.5. I think they struggled to score on Jake Ottinger. Again, I don't love this game. You're going to have to lay juice on that under 2.5. The Dallas Stars puck line first period is a better bet. Again, you guys, I haven't got to the window with this game. This is the one game where I just don't love it. I put coffee money on Utah on that first period, but this game, it doesn't look right. There's something wrong with this one for sure. The Montreal Canadiens taking on the San Jose Sharks. I'm going to take both teams to score in the first period, the over 1.5. I do think Lane Hudson and Celebrini, you look at both of these guys to come out nice and strong. Lane Hudson, 39 points, second for the Calder here, and then Celebrini, 37 points coming in as the front runner to take that Calder because he's a forward out there and he's so flashy. So Celebrini for let's do Celebrini for the goal and Lane Hudson for the assist tonight. Now, could Lane Hudson get a goal himself? We could see it. I think this is a higher scoring matchup with one of these teams, luckily being able to break those losing streaks. But you guys, thank you so much for joining me here. Oh, it's different from my coffee money. Yeah, the Starbucks coffee money. So $5 on a plus 170, something for a little bit of fun, you guys. But yeah, that Utah bet, I tell you, there's some games, and I like to put a little bit on them when I love something, like something at plus 170. I'm always about trying to find some value, guys, and it gets really hard in these games when we go over every single game out there. But you guys, I appreciate you. You put Cale and Jasper Bratt 2 points, and Boldy for a goal on FanDuel gave you a boost. Nice. I love where you're going with that. But you guys, thank you again for joining me here. If you haven't downloaded the SportsGrid app, make sure you go over and do so. It is at the Apple Store and the Google Play Store, and you can follow everything over there that I'm doing as well. So follow me as a host for all of my bets in everything. My Cup of Joe will be out here shortly, and then I'll be on Game Time Decisions later with Joe Ranieri. So make sure you join me on Game Time Decisions in case we've seen any changes out there on the ice, any last-minute goaltending changes that will really affect things out there. But for the majority of these games, we should see the goaltending matchup here. If you don't see Omark between the pipes tonight for Carolina, stay off that game, you guys. It's hard. Not for Carolina. He's no longer with Carolina, with Ottawa. So stay off that game if it's not Allmark with the Tampa versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, because I do think we could see the Ottawa Senators are just being so hot that we might see Tampa struggle to score in that first period if it's not Allmark. But you guys, all the best in all of your bets. Be back here tomorrow, noon Eastern. Make sure you hit that like, hit that retweet button, and hit the subscribe button over on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.